Hello everyone, I'm Asif Patel and welcome to CMake for Beginners Part 1. In this video, we are going to learn what is CMake, and then we will also learn how to create a simple Hello World C++ project using CMake. CMake is a cross-platform tool for defining and managing code builds, mostly C++. So basically, CMake is a tool using which I define how my C++ code will be built, and CMake will build it for me on various platforms. So CMake is extensible and open source system which manages build process that is independent of compilers and platforms. This means I define how my code should be built using CMake, and then CMake will build my code for various platforms. So it's like, define once and run it on all the platforms. CMake achieves this by pairing with different platform specific build systems. So basically, CMake is an intermediate step where it picks up your C++ code and it generates the output or the project or the build based on what platform you're running on. So if I have a C++ project and if I built it using CMake on Linux platform, it will generate make files. Similarly, if I execute my CMake code on Windows platform, it will generate Visual Studio project for me, and so on. So basically, CMake is a tool where I define how my C++ code should be built, and CMake will generate the build for me for all the different platforms. For CMake, the build instructions are defined in a file called as cmakelist.txt. These instructions define what the build system should do on the source code in the directory. If the source code is organized in multiple directories and subdirectories, then there will be cmakelist.txt for each directory, which defines what build system should do in each specific directory. It also defines which subdirectories CMake should handle. So therefore, if I have a project which has got or where the code is organized in multiple directories or subdirectories, then for each directory, there will be a CMake list file. And that CMake list file will contain instructions as to what the build system should do with the files present in that directory. Some of the basic actions what we perform with CMake are: we can build a library or we can build an executable file using CMake. We can add a file path to the include path used during build. We can also define variables that the build system will use in its directory and in its subdirectories. We can generate a file based on a specific build configuration. We can locate a library which is somewhere in the source tree. So this is what CMake can do. CMake is a very simple, small tool just to build your C++ projects. Let us go and understand about installing CMake. First, coming to installation on Windows. Installing CMake is pretty simple. We just go to the CMake downloads page and download the latest version of CMake. So the most recent stable version is it's here. It is 3.21.3. So we just go here and download the installation file. And once you download this, just follow the on-screen instructions and the installation is pretty simple and you don't have to do any configuration. Similarly, if you want to install it on Mac or Linux, we can run this following commands in a terminal window, and that should install CMake for you on Mac and Linux. My knowledge about Linux and Mac is very limited, so I'm not going into details of it. So I'm going to show all my code and examples on Windows platform. Okay, fine. So once we have installed our CMake in a command window, we type a command called as CMake hyphen hyphen version, and this should show me the installed version of CMake. And if I see this, that means my CMake is installed successfully. So let me open my command prompt. Okay, so I just type here CMake dash dash or say hyphen hyphen version. You can see it says CMake version 3.21.3 is installed. Yep. So now we have CMake installed. Let's move further and let's build the Hello World project. To build the Hello World project, I'm creating a very simple C++ program which prints Hello World. And then we have got a CMake lists.txt file. Let us create this. So I'm going to use Notepad and copy this code. Okay, I'm going to make this regular double quotes and all my code looks good here. Okay, let us save this. So I'm going to save this at a location. I've got a folder called as Hello World. I'm going to save it here. So let's save it as main.cpp and click on save button. Then have a new window. Let us copy this code here and we'll save it by name cmakelist.txt in the same location. Done. Okay, so before we run this code, let's understand what does this mean. I assume that you have got good knowledge of C++, so I'm not going to explain anything of C++. Let's directly jump to our CMake lists.txt file. CMake lists.txt file will minimum have 3 lines of code. Number one, which tells the minimum required version of CMake. Second, the name of the solution what we create. And third, the build or the project name with the source code. So the first line, CMake minimum required. This sets the minimum CMake version required to evaluate the current script. So anything below this installed on your machine will not work. Second, hello world. This creates a new CMake project for us. But also, this will trigger a lot of internal CMake logic, especially the detection of the default C and C++ compiler on your machine. And finally, add executable with 2 parameters, name of the project and or name of the build and the source code. A build target. So here we are saying there will be a build or a project called as app, which will invoke the configured compiler with some default flags for the current settings to compile and execute the app from the given source file, that is main.cpp. So that's all. Very simple. A simple C++ code and 3 lines of code in CMake lists.txt. Now, let us see how do we build this Hello World project. Step 1. We save the main.cpp and CMake list.txt in a directory. Step 2. Create a subdirectory named build. This is because we want CMake to place all the build files in a separate build directory, just to keep our code well organized. So in my case, I have placed my files in a folder called as C Learning, CMake Tutorial, Hello World. So here is my location. So you can see I have placed my code here in Hello World folder, and then here I have got my CMake list.txt, main.cpp, and then I have got a blank folder called as build here. So when we build our project using CMake, all the project or the build is created in this folder. Okay, let us build our project using CMake. To do so, in a command window, navigate to build folder and execute the following command. So let's go to command prompt window, and here we'll navigate to build folder. Then the command to build a project is cmake dot dot. When we run this command, cmake will generate the build project for me based on which platform I'm running on. So here I'm running this on Windows platform. So this will create a Windows build, which can be opened or executed in Visual Studio. Okay, so what CMake does is whenever I specify CMake, it looks for the file called as cmakelists.txt and executes all the commands specified in it. So here in this I'm invoking the CMake. The second parameter tells at what location I have got the CMake lists.txt file. So in my case, it is the parent folder. So you can see we have got CMake here, and in my command window, I'm inside this. I'm in build folder. So my CMake lists is in the parent folder. Now we just press enter, and this should start building our code. So you can see the CMake invokes our Windows compiler and builds a Windows project for me. And the build is successful. And it says build files have been written to my location slash build folder. Let us go and see if those are created. Okay, so here I go to build folder and you can see yes, it has generated the build for me. Since I'm running on Windows machine, so it has generated a Windows solution for me. It has a solution called as Hello World. Let me run this. Okay, let's open and see if our Visual Studio has opened. Okay, as specified, you can see in our code, we had specified the project name as Hello World. So in our Visual Studio, it has created a solution called as Hello World. And then we had specified our executable name or build name as app, and the source code was main.cpp. So you can see we have got a project called as app, and if I go to source code, you can see C++ code is here, and I can set this as start a project and I can run this. And here we go. We get hello world. So this is how we build a simple C++ project using CMake. In our next part, we'll learn more advanced aspects of CMake. So until now, goodbye and thank you.